This is Algebra 2, Worksheet 27.2, number 2. We're going to take this equation. It's saying the directions that it asks us to write each hyperbola in graphing form, so we know it's a hyperbola. Then we have to sketch the graph and get all those important parts: the center, the slopes of the asymptotes, the coordinates of the vertices. First thing we're going to do is we're going to put all the x's together and the y's together. We're just going to move things around to get everything all together. So I'm going to start with the 9x squared plus 54x after that. And then I'm putting the y's together, minus 1y squared plus 10y. And then we're going to take this 47, that constant term is going to move over to the other side. We're going to subtract it from both sides. That becomes negative 47 over there. Then we have all that completing the square to do. Remember that eventually in that graphing form we have the parentheses, x plus or minus something, y plus or minus something. So now we have to look at the x's and notice that you have the 9 in front, which means we have to factor out a 9. So it becomes x squared plus, we factored 9 out of 54, basically just dividing 9 into 54, that becomes 6x. Now we're going to complete the square. I'm going to put a blank there. And then we're going to do the same thing with the y's, but here's the tricky part about the hyperbolas is that you have to take that negative 1 out. Instead of, usually with the ellipses and the circles, parabolas even, it was just a positive you had to take out. But now we have to deal with the negative. So we have a negative 1 that we're taking out. It becomes y squared. Instead of 10y, that becomes minus 10y plus blank equals negative 47. And then we have to add now, because we're completing the square, I'm going to put plus 9 blank because of this 9. I want both sides to match, minus 1 blank. Now to complete the square, remember we're taking this value, dividing by 2 and squaring it. 6 divided by 2 squared works out to be a 9. So 9 is going in both of those spots. Same thing with the negative 10 over 2 squared. That works out to be a 25, and that's 25 also. So now when we factor these, the 9 is going to stay in front. X plus 3 squared, the square root of the 9 is 3. This sign plus goes right there, minus 1. Y minus 5, the minus sign from there, the square root of 25 squared equals. Then when I work all this out, 9 times 9, this is the tricky part because, again, before the hyperbolas, we didn't have to deal with this number, but now we do. 9 times 9 gives me 81. Negative 1 times 25 is minus 25. And now when I'm going to combine all these, and I believe that works out to be a 9. Now, for the hyperbolas, remember that in the equation, the general form had it equal to 1, like the ellipses. So to do that, I'm going to take this 9 and divide everything by 9. Now with the x's, with that 9 in front, this now cancels. So my equation, that is going to look like x plus 3 squared over 1. Again, I'm canceling with 9 into 9, which becomes 1 and 1. There's nothing I can do with 1 and 9. That doesn't reduce. So this y then becomes minus y minus 5 squared over 9. And I've got it equal to 1. So now I've got my equation in graphing form. Now I'm ready to find the center, graph it, find the vertices and the slopes of the asymptotes. My center is coming from these two spots. I have negative 3, positive 5. So I'm going to go left 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, remember that the bottom, these denominators tell me how far to move to make my box to try to get those two parabolas drawn. So left and right, I'm going to go to the square root of 1, which is just 1. So on the x-axis, I'm going left 1 and right 1. Now on the y-axis, the square root of 9 is 3. So I'm going to go down 3 and up 3. 1, 2, 3. from that center. Now, I'm going to go through those 4 points. I'm going to make this box. And now that box allows me to create the asymptotes. Those asymptotes are the diagonals that go through the box. And this kind of gives us the guideline to draw our 2 parabolas. Now, since the x came first, when we worked everything out, that x is first, that means our hyperbola is going to be horizontal, left and right. So then that means that these 2 points to the left and the right of the vertex, or of the center, are the vertices. So there's one parabola, there's one half of the hyperbola. There's the second one, and it's all graphed. That's what our hyperbola should look like. Now to state all these parts, for the vertices, again, it was the left and right points. These are your vertices that the parabolas are going through. The coordinates of this first one are -2 and +5. And this one is -4 and +5. So the very last thing we have to do is get the slopes of the asymptotes, which are these dashed lines, the x that we made through that box. The slopes of the asymptotes, remember the slope is rise over run, which is the change in y or the change in x. Now remember we took the square root of these to figure out how far to go. This 3 is your rise, this is your run, and we need one positive slope, one negative slope, which means it's plus or minus 3. 3 divided by 1 gives me that 3. Now I've got everything I need for number 2.